Hi, this is Ed Downs at Aberco Incorporated, manufacturers of Piemaster machines. This is the second tutorial in a series explaining the operation of the Piemaster model SA21. In this short video, we're going to go through the components of each of the major systems. Starting with the pneumatic system, this is the air intake manifold. Air comes in through here, and we have a couple of water traps to help keep moisture out of the machine for your compressor, a pressure regulator, and an oil mister that puts a little oil in the lines to help keep the solenoid motors lubricated. Inside the machine, air comes in, enters in through the distribution manifold right here, and the lines go out to three air valves on the right, a roll air valve, the fill valve, and then down below here, the knife. The roll controls the molds that make the pie. The fill valve goes up to the hopper, to the transmission up here, that turns the auger that deposits the filling onto the molds, and then the knife opens and closes, regulating how much filling comes out onto the molds. You can see leaving the air valves. The lines go over here to the roll motor, and you can see there's an exhaust on the roll motor here that comes back all the way back through here, and then it comes out underneath here and comes out into this muffler. The mufflers have a little packing in them, so it's quiet. It actually makes a lot of noise without those mufflers, so you got to have those. The knife exhaust, these two lines down here come back, and they go into this manifold right here, and they come out through another muffler up here. Up here in the knife box, there's two actuators. These are Speed Air, or sometimes they'll have a Doyon or a Grainger label on them. Speed Air is owned by Grainger Doyon. These actuators have just been obsoleted. Parker has a exact replacement. They're a little more expensive, but I've talked with them and I've ordered some, and they said they have no plans to obsolete them. So we have a supply of them, it looks like, for a while. And those two actuators are tied together, and they control the knife, which, when there's no pressure on the machine, you can pull it back by hand, and then you can already see there's the knife that it opens and closes to regulate the filling coming out. Then we move around over here, we can look up at the hopper and the transmission. So here's the transmission. In this case, this is a dual motor transmission. We require two motors for anything other than fruit filling. Fruit filling is pretty forgiving. It flows easily. And some meat fillings can get pretty dense, so we have the two motors on it. And the two motors are tied into this big gear here that in turn turns that auger, which sends the filling out the bottom of the depositor tube onto the molds for your pie. So that's basically the components of the pneumatic system. The electric system, we get a little more involved. This is the new computer, the Raspberry Pi 4, and it replaced this old control panel, which, now with cost, there are $3,000 worth of components. A lot more to know about this than the new computer, and if you can find the parts, none of them are RoHS compliant. So this was an inevitable change that had to happen, and we were glad we had the resources and the people that helped us make it happen. So the computer is controlled off of a Kindle reader that will come with the machine, or you can do it off your smartphone, which is really cool. So we'll get into details on that in another video. On this side of it, you've got a lockout button, a couple of indicator lights, and a push button switch. So the electronics from this to this from this obviously is a game changer as far as maintenance, reliability, and all those things. So you can see in here the wire bridge that connects to all these solenoids, so they get their signal from the computer. There's a little plug-in right here that plugs into the computer inside the top there, and then it goes out to the solenoids and across the other side that we'll look at. Power entry comes into the back here. Standard computer type plug, standard fuse, 3 amp. We put a 1/4 amp fuse in the machine once and forgot to change it out. And 15 years later, we went and did some service on the machine. That 1/4 amp fuse was still in it, so it doesn't take a lot to power this. On this side, the operator side, you've got 2 push button switches on both sides. There's 2 of them, so the operator has to push them both simultaneously. The point of that is to keep your hand from becoming a pie. Also over here, you see this. We call it the cancel switch. When the molds roll, this cam is on the shaft that this side is on, and this cam comes around and it contacts this roller switch, and that stops the cycle. So they come around, it hits that, shuts off, and then they stop back in their starting position. This switch down here is a safety switch. This mold is tied into this swing arm, and if something gets in there that spreads them apart and this swing arm kicks over, it will make this switch. It'll open this switch, and that is tied into the emergency lockout switch up here on the top tent, and it will stop the machine. So that's the basics of the electrics on this side. And then back over in here inside where the roll motor is, you can see there is, I think you can see, another safety switch in that corner that functions the same as the one on this side. If this swing arm is pushed out, it'll make this switch and shut the machine off. So that's the electrics. Before the introduction of this Raspberry Pi computer, I would have spent 5 hours talking about that old control panel. So this is a huge improvement, and one reason that the installation process is probably going to change for us as well, which will hopefully keep us from having to raise any prices, because we're saving money on components and other stuff. So that's the pneumatics and the electrics, and the next video we'll talk about the other systems.